I think we're seeing the first signs that there's a huge market for what Cardano is prepared to deliver. Ready? Let's go. We're seeing a lot of really good signs right now in the Cardano ecosystem, but it's hard to say that any of them are really surprising or shocking. It's really more of a feeling that we're just starting to see the first crops coming in at harvest time. Having said that, this next bit of news was a little bit surprising in a good way. A lot of us in Cardano use Yoroi. It was one of the first two big wallets, Daedalus being the full node wallet, Yoroi being the light wallet. It's just a Chrome extension. You can pop it open. You don't have to worry about it syncing. It's just kind of ready to go. It had compatibility with the Ledger Nano really early before Daedalus did. It's been a good wallet for the community to have available. However, it was very hard not to notice the Yoroi outages at the end of the recent epic. And while those of us who've been around blockchain technology a while know that an outage of the wallet doesn't really affect your crypto residing at a certain address on the blockchain, especially if you're using a hardware wallet, it was probably pretty understandably disconcerting for anybody who's new to the blockchain scene. I saw a lot of people asking questions like, are my ADA gone? My Yoroi wallet won't sync, understandable. I think we've all probably been in the place those people were early on in our sort of like blockchain learning curve. If you've been around for a while, you just assume this was some kind of a connection problem between the light wallet and the servers, because that's what a light wallet does. But I did see a lot of speculation as to the same thing that, of course, I was thinking. I think we all know that Sebastian and Nicholas Aqueros and Robert Kornacki have all left Emergo, and they're now all a part of DC Spark. So we wondered, hey, is the exodus of that personnel affecting the ability of Emergo to keep the wallet running the way it should? People were getting a little bit worried about that. And then we saw this update, and it was not exactly what I expected in a good way. Update, Yoroi has seen a huge increase in user base and high load on our servers that may be creating some downtime for our users. They're taking steps to address it, all the things they're supposed to say. This was good news. If we're actually breaking the servers for the most popular light wallet in our ecosystem because so many people are using Cardano, that's a good thing. People were posting pretty hilariously timed GIFs. Yes, I did pronounce it with a G. GIFs of Brad Pitt in World War Z watching hordes and hordes of ultra fast running zombies trying to scale walls and being shot at by helicopters. And while we probably aren't seeing anything that crazy, it does seem like people en masse are starting to figure out that there's a pretty gigantic disparity between what Cardano is about to offer and what the Ethereum ecosystem has been making people suffer for years now. Here's a screenshot that apparently was taken yesterday of Ethereum gas fees, and they are breathtaking. A Uniswap swap on the low end was costing over $1,000. On the high end, it was costing over $1,100. As if that's not a sufficiently horrendous product experience, you also have to worry about miscalculating the fees, in which case on Ethereum, you end up paying those fees and your transaction also doesn't get included in the block. Even if everything goes well, you're willing to pay these horrendous fees, you actually calculate them correctly so that your transaction doesn't fail, and your transaction is going to be actually included in the blockchain, you still have to worry about being front run through miner extractable value. Meanwhile, over in Cardano, everything's going swimmingly. We're on this beautiful leisurely walk towards September 12th, when we'll actually have smart contracts on the mainnet. Here we see that IOHK today released the Plutus mainnet candidate to the node team. They are now going to integrate that into their node final release candidate. So everything is sort of perfectly on schedule, and it looks like they're going to hit that September 12th date when smart contracts will go live. We also know there'll be plenty of platforms for users to experience once we do have smart contracts live. I mean, we don't know the exact timeline, but if you look at this Coin98 analytics infographic, this is a huge number of projects. And at some point in the near future, it's probably going to be pretty easy to find a Cardano counterpart for whatever it is you were trying to do on Ethereum. And the fees will be predictable and extremely low compared to the crazy fees that we've been seeing on Ethereum. The only way I can even conceptualize this, it's almost as if Tesla were coming on the market with electric cars that are very, very cheap to run in terms of energy consumption per mile. And the only competition out there for them really was not internal combustion engine cars that get, like 30 miles to the gallon. It was like internal combustion engine cars that mainly get like 12 miles a gallon, but every once in a while their gas consumption peaks and they get like 100 meters per gallon. I know I just mixed metric and imperial there, but it's a better market. The sort of energy efficiency and cost savings of Cardano as a full Gen 3 platform with proof of stake and smart contracts, it's even better than what Tesla encountered when it brought electric cars to market. It's like if Tesla brought electric cars to market, but there was never there were never hybrid cars or even regular ICE cars that got something over like 30 miles to the gallon. It's as if those never existed, and the only cars out there on a good day get like 12 miles a gallon, but on a bad day get less than like 1 mile per gallon. People would immediately jump on the Teslas, like even more so. I mean, Tesla's obviously experiencing unbelievable popularity right now, but it would be even more incredible if they were encountering the same level of competition that it looks like Cardano is going to be encountering as soon as they launch smart contracts. And we don't know how long Cardano smart contract adoption is going to take. We don't even know how long it'll take for a lot of the projects on this list to be up and running. Obviously, there's a bunch of things on this infographic. A lot of the NFT projects are obviously already running, but we don't even know how long it'll take for these projects to have fully fledged, mature products for the crypto world. But we do know there's an immense amount of demand for this. And we've already seen it with the breaking of Yoroi. Their servers can't handle, according to them, their servers couldn't handle the huge increase in user base they're experiencing. That was probably a factor in the calculations of all these developers. All these developers could have built on Ethereum. They could have gone to Ethereum, built in Solidity, and done what many developers had done before them, and it probably would have been easier. They wouldn't have had to learn functional programming, in the case of the smart contract developers at least. But they chose to come to Cardano probably because they were taking into account that there might be this epidemic of what I'll call ETH transaction fee refugees. Because let's face it, if you've been in the crypto world for a while, smart contracts are probably something you're very interested in if you realize what they can actually do. But if you've actually tried to use smart contracts in Ethereum, you've probably been stung with failed transactions, or maybe even with being front run by miner extractable value, although you might not have even realized it. It was kind of extracted from you without you knowing it. But you probably went because you knew the potential was, but you probably pretty shortly were disillusioned because of how badly things worked in practice over on Ethereum. Now all of a sudden we'll have a true Gen 3 blockchain that does smart contracts, that has developer adoption, obviously based on this infographic. And I'm not saying this is the same size as the Ethereum ecosystem. We all know there's a huge number of developers over on Ethereum because that was the only game in town for a long time. But the ecosystem being this size before smart contracts are even available, and the amount of demand for it that we're already seeing breaking our light wallet, these are all really good signs. We also saw this report released by Gemini. They studied the responses of 4,000 crypto holders in Singapore. And it turned out, if you actually download this, they're doing the typical thing. They're bartering with you. If you'll give them your email, which they will promptly place on a million mailing lists, maybe not a million, maybe it's just theirs if you're lucky, but it's definitely going on some mailing list. Then you get to download, then they'll allow you to download the actual report. I did that. It turns out, it's been widely reported, of course, in the crypto press, at least the Cardano press today, that 40% of these 4,000 respondents in Singapore have Cardano already. They already have Cardano. Think about that. Smart contracts aren't even live yet. And Ethereum's not the only choice out there. There are a lot of other blockchains, even other proof of stake blockchains, that also already have smart contracts live. And despite all that, Cardano, which doesn't even have smart contracts live yet, is already held by 40% of the people who hold crypto in Singapore. What does that number look like after smart contracts are live and some high percentage of all those projects we just saw in that infographic are available? I mean, you can't even use those yet. Most of those. I mean, you can use some of the NFT stuff and some of the other non-smart contract stuff, but you can't use any of the cool smart contract stuff yet. What does that 40% number look like after all those smart contracts are up and running on the mainnet? I think we might be in store for an epidemic of Ethereum transaction fee refugees. The rise of Cardano as a full-fledged mainnet and the influx of users that comes along with that might be like something the crypto world has never seen before. Talk to you tomorrow.